Hello there everybody, welcome back to a brand new video on the Wales channel. It's been a while, it has been a while. The football season's been over, I've struggled with ideas to make content, but today I'm actually bringing a video out ahead of the new season. Life without football, it's just boring. It is every season when the football season's done. Can't wait for football to get back, I really can't. I'm sure most of you can't wait for football to get back either. Today, as you'll have seen from the title and thumbnail, I'm jumping on the bandwagon of Premier League predictions. So I'm going to be predicting how the Premier League table will look come the end of the season. I'm going to be basing this off of how a team plays, the players they've signed in the window, how they finished last season. In general, just my personal thoughts as to how I think the Premier League season is going to go. A lot of you will probably disagree with my opinions and how I think it's going to go, but that's football at the end of the day. Everyone has different opinions. That's life in general. What I've done is I've put together a tier list, which you're going to see on screen now. I've covered up the teams I put in certain places. I'm going to be predicting who's going to get relegated, who's going to finish just outside the relegation zone, lower mid-table, upper mid-table, European places, and of course the title as well. As I go along, of course, I will uncover each badge so that you know who I've put there, and I will explain my reasoning as to why I've put them there. I'm smirking because I'm excited to know what people think about my opinions, because there's quite a few strange ones in there, quite a few probably expected ones. Anyway, so that this video doesn't drag on, I'm going to crack straight on with it. Before we get started though, if you haven't done so already, please like and please subscribe. If you haven't subscribed already, we are almost at 500 subscribers. Another thing is as well, don't forget to turn post notifications on so you never miss a video. You'll get a notification pinged straight to your phone whenever I upload a video. As I say, don't want this to drag on, so without further ado, let's crack on with my 2023-24 Premier League predictions. So, as I showed you just a minute ago, we've got the tier list here. I'm excited for reactions, to be honest. That's why I keep smirking. The question is now, who have I put free to go down this season? Now, I think two of them, people will think, okay, no, that's fair. I think one of them will be a bit of a middle thing where people are like, okay, I can see why you put them there, but at the same time, I can't see them getting relegated. So to start off, I've gone with in 20th place to finish bottom, Sheffield United. My reasoning for this one, if their last time in the Premier League is anything to go by, 2020-21 season, then it's not going to be great. Obviously 2019-20 was their first season back in the Premier League for years. They finished just outside of a European place, a few points actually, which was just madness. And then 2020-21 came along and they just had an absolute shocker of a season. They didn't record a win for months. I think they were bottom of the table with 0 points for first, I think it was 2-3 months of the season. And they went down with, I believe, what ended up being the second worst points tally in Premier League history. I might be wrong, correct me on that if I'm wrong. But yeah, I've gone with Sheffield United for bottom. I just think they lack quality. They're a good team in the Championship, but I just think that Premier League life is going to be hard for them again. At the moment, I've heard no activity from them in the transfer window. And if they stick with the same squad, you know, most of them are Championship players. So I just can't see them maintaining Premier League status. So at the moment, my choice for 20th stands with Sheffield United. 19th. A lot of people might be surprised about this one because of the end of the season they had last season. They survived in the last few games. They had a decent end of the season. I've gone with Nottingham Forest. Now, I think they were quite lucky to survive in the end. Obviously, you've got to get the results to stay up, and they got those results. But I just think with the players they've got, that not many of them anymore are Premier League quality. They've released a few of their old players. I know Andre Ayew, Jesse Lingard have gone now. But a few of the players they had last season just weren't Premier League quality anymore. They've got an ex-West Ham player there, Chiquiate as well. Still think he's an alright player. If he was still at West Ham, would I like him in the squad? Not really. I think they were bottom for a lot of the season until Southampton took that place. But unless Nottingham Forest signs some decent Premier League quality players, I can't really see them staying up this season. I think they will be 19th this season, second from bottom, and I think they will join Sheffield United in the Championship next season. Now this one is the one that I said earlier on will probably have mixed opinions. One that's a bit of a middle one where it's like, I can understand it, but also I can't see them getting relegated. In 18th, I have Everton. My reasoning for this one is quite simply, Everton have lacked quality for the last couple of years. They've been battling relegation for the last couple of years. Obviously last season they stayed up on the final day by beating Bournemouth. I just think a lot of people say third time's a charm, but I personally think for Everton, this season will be their third relegation battle in a row, this one will be the unlucky third. I think this one will be the one going to the Championship for the first time ever. I just think the way the club's run is ridiculous. They've just not looked a decent outfit in the Premier League for quite a few years now. I remember when I was younger, Everton were a decent team, always in the top half of the table. Back then they had Romelu Lukaku up front, who was a world-class striker for them. Everton were a very good side who were very hard to beat. But now they just haven't got that. That era of Everton being a dominant side and a decent side that would qualify for Europe and finish top half of the table is gone. I honestly think that this season could be the season Everton go down. Everton 18th for me. 17th, believe it or not, I've got Premier League newcomers Luton Town. Now this one might come as a shock to a lot of people because of course they're brand new to the Premier League, never been in the Premier League before. A lot of people, I reckon, in their predictions will have them to go straight back down, probably bottom of the league. For me, I actually think 17th for them, they'll just scrape. If there is any Luton Town fans watching this video, I just want to say a huge congratulations. Couldn't be happier for you. Just 10 years ago, you lot were in the National League, in non-league, but welcome to the Premier League. Very nice to have a new team that have never been in there before. Now, my reasoning to saying Luton at 17th, like I say, it will be a shock to some people, is quite simply, and this is going to sound horrible, but I think it's going to be first season syndrome. Because it's their first ever in the Premier League, they're going to want to cause upsets, they're going to want to do things that they could only dream of doing a few years ago. They're going to want to beat a couple of big names. For me personally, I think they stay up based on first season syndrome, as people put it. From a Luton perspective, 17th is a good season, let's be honest. Staying up, I think Luton Town fans would be very grateful for that. I just think, based on a couple of their signings already, it's not Premier League quality players. Signed a couple of players from the Championship, I think one from League One, from Barnsley. So I just can't see them having a great season, but I can see them having a good enough season so that they stay up. And I think that they will finish just one place above the relegation zone. 16th, we have Bournemouth. Quite simply, my reasoning for Bournemouth is they had a decent season last season compared to what they're used to in the Premier League. Managed to stay up. One thing I will say though is I think they've made a big mistake ahead of next season sacking or parting ways with Gary O'Neill. Gary O'Neill did a phenomenal job in their survival. I think they played really well in a lot of their games. I think Dominic Solanke had a fantastic season. Overall, I think compared to what they expected, they had a great season. It'd be interesting to see what manager they get in, because like I say, I think they've made a big mistake getting rid of Gary O'Neill. But yeah, 16th for Bournemouth, they'll have a fairly decent season. In 15th, I have gone for Crystal Palace. I'll be honest, that is for one reason and one reason only. No Wilfried Zaha for them. And let's be real here. I mean, apart from Eberechi Eze, who has come in and has been a fantastic player for them, no Wilfried Zaha is going to be a huge blow for Palace. Let's be real, and I'm sorry Palace fans, but you have to see it yourselves as well. Zaha carried that team for so many years. For me, Palace finished 15th because I think they're going to struggle with life without Zaha. They're going to have to adjust to it. Palace being without him next season, they will struggle. Crystal Palace, 15th. Now, 14th place. Again, this might be a bit of a surprise to some people because I reckon a lot of people will have had them a lot lower down. Burnley. The reason I have put Burnley in 14th. I really like what Vincent Kompany is doing over at Burnley. I think he has become a fantastic manager in the Championship last season. Can he now cut it in the Premier League? I think he will be able to lead Burnley to a mid-table finish this season. I think Vincent Kompany came in that door, had big boots to fill after, I know there was a manager in between Sean Dyche and Vincent Kompany coming in, but he had big boots to fill from what Burnley were used to from Sean Dyche. But Vincent Kompany came in and he wasn't fazed by the task at all of getting Burnley back up to the Premier League. He done it first time of asking, he's got the job done. I personally think mid-table finish for Burnley this season. I reckon they'll play some decent football, maybe beat one or two of the big names. 14th for me, Burnley. I think they're going to have an alright season. I've turned my light on. It's currently 8:10 in the evening. It's starting to get a little bit dark, so I felt like it'd be nicer if I actually had my light on. Back to the tier list. 13th place, I've gone Wolves. Now, I don't really know how to feel about Wolves this season, mainly because of the shaky season they had last season. Don't get me wrong, they had some brilliant games. I think they have some class players, but where they finished, I just can't see them improving on that, really. I think a lot of it was when they lost Nuno. When Nuno left, things just weren't the same for Wolves. I think he was a fantastic manager in his time at Wolves. He got him into Europe, and then I think when he left, things just went downhill. And, you know, they've had a couple of mid-table finishes. I don't really have much else to say about Wolves, really. I think 13th for them. Now it's on to the higher mid-table teams. 12th, I've gone with Fulham. Compared to what everyone expected, I think everyone expected Fulham to do their usual. Come up, go straight back down. But to be fair, last season they defied the odds. They defied what everyone said. They actually had a brilliant season. Last season they beat Manchester United, they beat Chelsea. They had a really good season. Them signing Willian is a great signing. Palhinha has been fantastic for them as well. A lot of their signings last season showed that they were serious this season, that they wanted to stay out. They didn't just want to drop straight back down. Let me know what you'd think, Fulham fans, if there's any watching this video. Would you consider 12th a decent finish? That's where I put you. That's where I think you're going to finish this season. I personally think, from a Fulham perspective, I'd be happy with that. Yeah, for them, 12th place. Now this one, 11th place. Now, I think a lot of people are going to be surprised with this one as well, based on the fact that I'm not biased and saying, yeah, top 4, top 6, title. So yeah, I've given it away. 11th place, West Ham. I just think mid-table at best this season. I just can't see us having a better one than what we did last season, especially not now that we've lost Rice. I'm not biased, and I will admit, Rice held the team together. I have no more to say other than I don't know what we're going to do without Rice. Unless we can replace him with someone similar, which is not going to happen. Now that he's gone to Arsenal, they're going to benefit off of him massively. And it hurts me to say it, but he needs to be at a club like Arsenal to progress. Why do I think we're going to finish 11th? Quite simply, look at last season. We struggled so much from the get-go. The story of our season last season, a lot of games we outplayed teams and lost. I think we're going to finish 11th. I don't think we'll go, in all honesty, I hate to say it, do I think we'll go as far as we did in the Europa League last time this season? No. And without Declan Rice and without making any signings at the moment, are we going to be able to hack Thursday nights like we did last season and do well in the Premier League? I mean, it showed last season. We were playing Thursday nights and we suffered. The Premier League suffered. Yes, we got to the final of the Conference League. We won the Conference League. I'm happy with that. But the finish in the Premier League, finishing 15th with the squad we had, we spent 200 million in the summer window. Lucas Paqueta, Gianluca Scamacca, who was out for most of the season for injury. Paqueta was really underwhelming, and apart from towards the end of the season, I think he had a brilliant end to the season. Creswell, he's getting old. I love him to bits. He's a loyal player, but he's getting old now. Antonio is useless these days. He's had a great last few seasons with West Ham, but he just can't find a way to score, and he's meant to be a striker. Souček is a bit hit and miss as well. I think we could do with replacing him. But yeah, basically, based off the fact that I don't think we'll be able to hack Thursday nights and the Premier League this season, I think 11th place. I'll take a mid-table finish, I really will. I don't think we'll get relegated, but I don't think we'll have an overwhelming season or an underwhelming season. I think we'll have an average season where we do okay. 10th. This one was a bit of a hard one. I didn't really know what to go with, but my decision is Brighton. I think a lot of people will be surprised because Brighton have got an exciting project going on. I think they're a great side. Some of the players they've got are brilliant. Manager there, I can't remember his name for the life of me, but he's done a fantastic job taking over from Graham Potter, and they finished 6th place. They've got European football, the Europa League. The reason I don't think they'll be able to live up to the standard they set last season and finish top 6 again, or top 7, or finish in a European place in general, is mainly because it's their first time in Europe. Their first ever time. They've never been in a European competition before in their history. Much like West Ham, do I think they'll be able to hack the Thursday nights and the Premier League at the same time? I don't think so. I really don't. Like I say, I think the football Brighton play is brilliant, but also the fact that they've got to deal with Europe at the same time. 10th place, Brighton. In 9th place, I've gone for Aston Villa. They have the Europa Conference League, which obviously West Ham have just won. Keep having to mention that, seriously. It's just, I can't get over it. I really can't. Come on, you Lions! Yeah, no. 9th place, Villa, because I think, again, some of the football they play, much like Brighton, has been brilliant the last couple of years. They've got Coutinho, they've now signed Yuri Tielemans, they've got Ollie Watkins, who scored a ridiculous amount of goals last season. He is a brilliant player, and I think the addition of, so far, Yuri Tielemans, will be brilliant for them. You could name their whole squad. They're hard-working players. They're brilliant. Unai Emery coming in. I don't think anyone expected him to go to Aston Villa, but Unai Emery coming into Aston Villa, he has done a fantastic job. Unai Emery won the Europa League with Villarreal a couple of years ago. I think they have every chance in winning the Conference League with Unai Emery. How crazy would that be? 2 claret and blue teams winning it in a row. But of course, we got there first. For me, they finish 9th, win the Conference League, get into Europa League next season, and then go on from there. So yeah, 9th for me. Right, now I know I'm going to get a lot of people slamming me for this one, telling me I'm biased. But in all honesty, it's not. It's just based off of what I see and what I think. 8th place, we've got Tottenham. Tottenham had a dreadful season last season. There's no other way of putting it other than dreadful. I think the only achievement they got out of last season was beating Man City. Aston Villa beat them to a Conference League place. You know, they're a two-man team really. Kane and Son, they carry Tottenham. I mean, how can you rely on one player to have a good season? You can't. It doesn't work like that in football. The other reason I say they finish 8th and don't get Europe for a second season in a row is because of the strong links with Harry Kane leaving to go to Bayern Munich. Without Kane and Son, they're a mid-table team at best, and they will regularly finish there. If he leaves for Bayern Munich, he'll be without their strongest player. They will be without their best player in years, since probably Gareth Bale. For me, Tottenham 8th, no Europe for a second season in a row, especially if Kane leaves, they'll be in the mud. Now we're moving on to the European places. That's Europa Conference League, Europa League, Champions League, and then of course title. 7th place, you may have noticed the team that hasn't yet come up. 7th place, and to get a Europa Conference League place, Brentford. A lot of people might be a little bit confused with this one. A lot of people might not think of Brentford as a European quality side. But for me, they are a fantastic team. What Thomas Frank does is fantastic. Last season, they missed out on Europe by, I think it was 4 or 5 points. I just think what they do is brilliant. I think they will get a Europa Conference League place this season. On to the Europa League places, that's 5th and 6th. 6th place, now again, I'm probably going to get slated for this one, Manchester United. The reason I say United is because they lack consistency. They are one of the most historic clubs and one of the most successful clubs in England, but my God, since the Fergie era ended, they have just lacked consistency. They haven't had a Premier League title since Fergie left. They've had 1 European trophy, which was the Europa League, 2 FA Cups, Carabao Cup. That's 4 trophies in about the last 10, 11 years since Ferguson left. I think 6th place for them. To be fair, if I were a United fan, I wouldn't turn my nose up at it. I think that's pretty okay. 5th place, I've gone with Chelsea. Obviously, they had a shocking season last season, finished bottom half of the table, just couldn't find results a lot of the time. They just had a dreadful, dreadful season. I'm not being funny, how do you have a club that spends 600 million and produces that last season? It doesn't help that this season they've lost a lot of players. They've sold Havertz to Arsenal, they've sold Mount to Man United, they've sold Koulibaly and Kante to the Saudi League. But what I will say is Chelsea haven't got Europe this season. They haven't, and I think that will benefit them. I think being able to solely focus on the Premier League will help them back into Europe. I think Poch will do a fantastic job at Chelsea. 5th place for Chelsea. 4th place, I've gone for Newcastle. For the 2nd season in a row, I fancy them to finish 4th. They've got their big money from Saudi. Team under Eddie Howe is phenomenal. The thing that I respect about Newcastle is Newcastle didn't get taken over and splash the cash like that. They still have virtually the same team. Alan Wilson, Almiron. The only improvements I'd say were Bruno Guimaraes, Kieran Trippier, Nick Pope. They're not massive money signings. They didn't splash 200 million straight away on one player. There's a very exciting project going on there under Eddie Howe. I think quarterfinals in the Champions League for them this season. Qualify for the Champions League again by finishing 4th. And yeah, that would be another fantastic season for the Geordies. Now, the next club I found very, very hard to place. Liverpool had a very, very shaky and underwhelming season. They just didn't have a great season. Obviously, they've finished at 5th in a Europa League place. To be fair, Liverpool fans aren't going to be too happy with that. It's not what they're used to, so I think they'll be very disappointed. But I think Klopp will have a much better season managing them this season. I think 3rd place for them. Now, 2nd place, and I know a lot of people are specifically this set of fans, are going to be probably kicking off if they're watching this video. Oh, why haven't you got us first? Why haven't you got us to win the title? There's one simple reason. It's going to give it away straight away who's top. You probably guessed it most of the video anyway. But second, I have Arsenal. That leaves top, the champions, Manchester City. Now, Arsenal second. The reason being, they just can't compete with Manchester City. No one can. No one can compete with Manchester City. Arsenal have a very, very exciting project going on. Arteta has done a fantastic job over there. It's exciting times for Arsenal fans because it has been over 10 years, over 15 years in fact, since Arsenal last won the Premier League. They're now finally competing for that again. They were top the majority of last season. To be fair, I said it the majority of the season. Arsenal were top the majority of the season, but I actually never once believed Arsenal were going to win that title. Call me a bull or anything like that, but honestly, I've always said City were going to win the title because they just have that ability. And Arsenal are such an inconsistent team a lot of the time that they will drop 1 point and it will go to shit. At one point, they went 3 games without a win. They lost to Everton, drew to Brentford, and then drew to Southampton. They drew to us 2-2 after having a 2-0 lead. They had a 2-0 lead against Liverpool at Anfield, ended up drawing that. So in fact, I think it was actually 5 games on the trot they went without a win. And that is where City stepped up and were like, okay, this is ours now. We gave you your head start. You f***ed it. This is our time to shine. So yeah, Arsenal second for me. Manchester City, the predictables. They call Arsenal the Invincibles, I call City the Predictables. They just have a phenomenal team. Haaland is a freak of nature. Scoring that amount of goals last season, he's just a phenomenal player. City's quality, squad depth, money is exactly why no one can compete with them. I just can't see, as good as Arsenal's squad are, as good as what Arsenal are doing is, I just can't see them beating City to the title. I really can't. For me, Arsenal second, Manchester City, champions of England, once again. So there you have it. There is my Premier League 2023-24 predictions. Hope you've enjoyed it. Please let me know down in the comments what you think. Now, looking at my clock, I've been filming this video for 2 hours and 20 minutes. That is mental, but it's worth it. I'm getting more content out. I'm excited for the football season to start. Keep an eye out on the channel because I will be releasing some more predictions. I'm going to be doing the Championship, League 1 and League 2 predictions as well. As I said, turn post notifications on, click the little bell and be notified whenever I upload a video so that you can be notified when those videos come out. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it. It's good to be back. Please like, please subscribe. We're on the road to 500. Thank you so much for watching. See you lot in the next one.